Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobby Richardson, and I will be your guide for today. So today we are going to do some channeling, and I have a little bit of a different outlay. So I'm gonna I wasn't sure if I needed this up or down, more light. Yeah, that's a lot better, I think. It's different when it's on Zoom than when it's on YouTube. The pictures or the image comes out darker. So welcome to my channel. My name is Bobby Richardson, and I am a channeler and a seer. So for the first 50 years of my life, I saw things that others couldn't see, saw into different dimensions, and that kind of I still see things every now and then, but I don't see hardly as much as what I did. And I mean, different beings coming to my room, different messages in my life, where to go, whole heap of things that happened to me that was very unusual. Dreams that led me to places like Uluru with David Icke and so forth. And meeting up with the Cherokee elder who took my hand and talked to me telepathically for real. All these different really weird scenarios that happened to me throughout my whole entire life. And then the last 5 or 6 years, the sights, the actual visions, or whatever you want to call them, and I'm talking, these are real experiences to me. This isn't just in my head. They subsided, and I started to get channel messages coming through instead. So it's real time. And I can now produce these channel messages for you guys and connect to those that had already connected to me throughout my life. So that's where that all comes from. And there is a video link down below of how I started to channel. So it's got a lot of the stories in it, some of the stories. Because I have literally hundreds of different stories in my life that are pretty unusual. Any case, let's get into this channel message. I've got a couple of little messages that I wrote down on my phone. Not much this week or for today. But I also had this pretty aha moment this morning, and it had to do with my own reality as well as I'm sure everyone else's. So I think it's a valid thing to bring up now, and we can channel some more messages or information through about that. Hey, Linda. Hey, Cherie. Hey, Diane. Don't forget that after my channel messages, we might have some Q&A, time for Q&A and stuff. So get some questions ready if you're really curious about like tapping into my guides and seeing what they say about something. It might just be for confirmation for yourself. So yeah, I was getting this message this morning when I was driving my daughter to work. And by the way, if anyone sees my community notices, I'm so excited that she's just been accepted into a very prestigious university in Brisbane for art design, and so grateful for that. She's just a trooper. Any case, that aside, the message that I got this morning was to do with the subtleties of the mind trying to navigate through this world, and then we think that it's our soul that's navigating. We think that it's coming from our heart because it is a desire or a passion, and our logical mind will like fixate on it and might have the same desire end result that we want at the end. But then it limits it. That's the only difference. And so we get confused and we get stuck in this limited concept of how something has to play out. And I do it. I've done it. I just realized this morning that I've been doing this. We get these like thoughts in our heads of how things have to look, how things have to move, excuse my throat, through this life. And say, for instance, the end result is that you obviously want, all the abundance in the world. You want your career to take off. You want your, to make your hobby into a career, or that you want your family and everyone to be happy. You want love to come into your life or something like that. But then the mind will grab it and it will say, if it's done this way, boom, 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 or even straight, I just want it. And I've done enough shadow work and I've done enough everything and I've been through enough and I just want it now, universe. It can kind of dissipate the journey that your soul actually needed to take or wanted to take or wanted to experience while it was here. And say, for instance, your soul, say, for instance, before you were born, just like when you die, when you pass over, you might get all of these messages coming through your head about what your life has been, like a review of your life. Well, just before you're born, you get a kind of glimpse into almost review of what your life could be from the soul's perspective. It's like seeing a map before you. Say you go on Google Maps and then you see your map and you've got all these different lines of you can get to that point that you really want it to go to, that way, that way, that way, and you can choose, and then you can go, okay, well, I'm going to go on a different path now. Well, what the mind can do is sometimes see that end result of where we really want to go, and it's fixated on it so much that it's like, I want to just jump from where I'm at to the end result because that'll make me happy. And what happens is you and your life starts to make these leaps, but you haven't gone through the adventure that your soul wanted to take. So when you leap, it's like the world just pushes you back because you've gone off track. You've gone off the actual map that your soul wanted to navigate. And so you take another big leap and you just feel like your life is pushing you back, pushing you back, pushing you back. And yet what's really happening is that your mind has decided the only way to get to the end result is to have a winning lotto ticket. I'm just giving examples here. It could be anything. A winning lotto ticket. Somebody just comes around the corner and gives you the opportunity or whatever it is. Boom, boom, boom. It's just going to happen so easily now. And your soul's like, hang on a sec. You're missing out on all the journey. And the soul knows that the journey and the adventure is the thing that you literally came here to experience, not just the end result. And so you keep on going off track, trying to jump, trying to just go, instead of going this way and this way towards the end result goal, you're trying to jump from here to here. And it's like you're going off track to do that. And so the world will push you back and push you back to the track that your soul really wanted to experience. And you feel like you're getting nowhere or you're battling, but what you're doing is battling your mind. And that's why they're telling us we need to let go of the mind, which has this perceived perception of what other people are going to feel about you. It's like your mind thinks that if you've already made it and you look good to the rest of the world, that means you're going to be really happy because the rest of the world is reflecting back to you your happy state of mind, and you've not actually gone on the adventure that you wanted to. Yeah, so it was a big oh my gosh moment for myself because I just wanted to skip everything and leap to the end and become, and yet I can see in my life amazing things have happened since I started this journey and this shadow work. I have met a beautiful man. For the moment, this is perfect for me. And I've got a beautiful home. And you can only sit in the moment and see what's perfect for you. I'm sitting in this, a room that he's gifted to me to be able to do my talks. And, really a gorgeous family. My family's doing so well. All of my family is doing so well. And that was my heart's desire as well. So I've got all these snippets, like I've lit these certain candles. But then there's this one thing that's like, I just want to get to the end result of that. And then it's going to be all perfect. And I keep getting pushed back. And I'm like, why is that? And this is the reason why. There's an adventure to be taken on the journey of me succeeding in other endeavors. There's an adventure to be taken. And if I just jump to the end, I'm going to miss the adventure. And my soul came here for the adventure. My soul wanted to have an experience, and that is more abundant to a soul, more abundance to a soul than actually getting something physically tangible. Because when we leave this life, they're telling me now, when we leave this life, we can just snap our fingers, use our focus, attention, and it comes to us straight away. So there's not so much resistance when we're out of the mind. And that means that everything can come very quickly to us, and we can live in this utopia heaven, especially if we have a soul that knows that exists, that hasn't been caught in a maze, and so we can have that easier. And that's why they say you go to heaven, because it's a utopia for you, because you're out of the mind, and the mind no longer resists, and so you have clarity of where you really want to go when you've passed over. So they're like, that's easy, but that's not what you came here for. You came here for the actual experience, the novelty of the resistance as well. It's interesting. Like we're getting taught now to bring this utopia on earth, to have least resistance, to do it. But then they're also saying, don't forget the adventure, that it like embrace. That's why they keep telling me acceptance is the most important thing, because then if we're accepting the resistance, we're actually enjoying the journey through the resistance as well. Oh my gosh, I hope I'm making sense, but I do in my own mind. I understand where they're going to. So there's a lot more. They're saying it's not always going to be fun, but there's a lot more adventure and excitement. And when you then get to the end of your life and review your life, you'll go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I took that journey. That journey is so cool now. And what an experience was that. Yeah. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Sky. Hi, Nicole. Good to see everybody. Let's see what else is going to come through, or whether I go into these. There's a couple of little messages that they brought through, and I keep getting these titles for other videos too. So I am certainly not in lack of things to speak about. That's for certain. I always had that little worry or niggle in the back of my head of, if I go live too much, I won't have much to speak about. And they just keep pouring through this stuff. So I'm like, I've let that go so much more now. If anyone wants to see my video that I just produced, it was channeling, pretty much straight through channeling. I don't even think I cut any of that channeling out. It was just straight from beginning to end, Gaia channeling through me. I just put pictures and images through it, but I don't even think I cut any of that out. It was just straight through. So if you want to have a look at that channel message, straight from Earth, and I was tapping into her, that's a really good one to see. And also I have a video of light coming out of my hand that I produced a few days ago. Any case, and if anyone wants a one-on-one Zoom reading with me, the link is down below. Just go on my website, Codes to a New Reality, and yeah. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. These are all my housekeeping things. Now, the thing that I did write down is, this is quite powerful. So when the females rise into power again, and we will, we mustn't forget, power without compassion will only lead humanity into another unbalanced state again. It is within our union that we will find freedom. So I'm talking about not when females take over the world or anything like that. I'm just talking about us rising into power, where we have more say on bigger issues in this world. Like we have these snippets of females that are getting into the high end, kind of being able to speak their mind and that sort of thing, say what's needed for this world. But most of them are working on their logical side. They're like trying to fit into the system that's already been produced, or they're very logical minded anyway. It's when the feminine energy comes in, like the feminine, intuitive, imaginative side is respected just as much as the logical, physical side of ourselves. And so when that happens, and because there's going to be a unity within many of us, within our minds, the unity will start showing up outside of us, which means that we're going to start to take respect people with intuition and messages coming through from just all knowing a lot more as we go along. And when that happens, for those that are going to take those steps, I know that you're going to be in balance, because it needs to be coming from a place where you've already done so much shadow work that you have respect for all that's happening on this planet. But they just want us to remind ourselves as we're going along in this journey, it is a balance that we need to accomplish within ourselves and outside of ourselves, not just the rise of one side or the other, because we have both sides within us. And just like the polarity game is, we have both sides, every good and bad, whatever you want to call it, it's all within us. And it's just instead of polarities apart, polarities coming together and creating the yin yang symbol, and then realizing that within the good is a small bit of resistance, and within the resistance is the good of where we really want to go. And if we see it from that perspective, instead of that's bad and that should never be done and judgmental and all of that sort of stuff, it doesn't help for leadership to rise in harmony with balance again. And it has to be, they're saying, to really navigate through these new energy lines that are pouring through humanity's consciousness at the moment. It has to be coming from a balanced self, a balanced mind, to be able to really make a change in finding peace on earth again, because it's through our own judgment of ourselves and then judgment of others that we don't find that. That's why they're saying to come back and do the shadow work and find out where you're judging yourself, and then move forward. So yeah, a little bit on that. And also, I suppose this goes with it, negativity and positivity always depends on your perception of what's right and wrong. This can change as you shift into clearing programs, giving you new perspectives and acceptance. So it does depend on the level of awareness that you are moving from and into. So we have this, they showed me years ago a chessboard, and they said, here's humanity just doing one game, one-sided game. We're flat on the board. We can't see up, we can't see down. We're just on this chessboard doing this polarity game. Then they showed me another level that was above that, and it was a little bit smaller, and it was just glass. This is the Pleiadians, by the way, that showed me this. And then another level up that had glass, and it was smaller, and another level to the top. And what they were showing me was, here's humanity playing their game, and then when we raise our level into a higher perspective, higher consciousness, understanding a lot more about who we are, then we rise where we can see through the bottom, so we can see that polarity game that's playing out, where people can't feel like that's all there is. But we can also see through the bottom down onto them, and seeing from a higher perspective, going, hey, there's an easier way for you to navigate through your life this way and this way. So that's the higher perspective. And then as we went up, the chessboard kind of got smaller and smaller, because they were showing me that as we go into higher and higher, newer perspectives of life and seeing more of life, because we're leveling up, we see down 2 levels, or we level up, we see down 3 levels. And when we can see through more perspective of life, in other words, we're starting to communicate with everything around us as part of us, and we're starting to recognize how much compassion actually navigates a peaceful life, and that it was only within our limit of not seeing ourselves like that we ended up fixating just on you're bad, you're good, and all that sort of stuff. So the more that we become aware, self-aware of who we are from the eyes of, or the perspective of source energy, we raise ourselves into a higher perspective of this chessboard, so to speak, or this game, or this reality. And then we come to the point where we're just one. And when we're just one and we're seeing life from the observer point of view, there is no resistance, there is no judgment, there just is life. There's life moving in and out, and there's life expanding and coming in, and moving and shifting, and leaving one body to move into another, and everything is just beautiful. It's just a wow, an incredible creation, and we start to see ourselves as the creator of everything. So there's this leveling up as we go along, and there's new perspectives that happen from negative positive, or the chessboard, to wow, we see ourselves and from compassion more, as we come in alignment with all being just one source energy. And it's interesting to note too that that's telling me now that it comes into a triangle effect. And then they were bringing me back to the channel message that I did with Egypt, and they had the pyramids, the triangle, and then my daughter was talking about the diamond that's within us, and so the triangle that might be that goes down below the pyramid of Giza, going towards Earth herself. And there's like this an understanding that we are both, something to do with that too, but the understanding that we are source energy at the top, aligning ourselves through different layers or levels of awareness to become in the central point of where we're at now, and then all these layers going down below of grounding and going through to our logical separated world of we can experience oneness, can experience this separated illusion of reality, which actually gives it more playground, more scope, more fun to play on, as a separated individual, jumping from one body to another, and experiencing all encompassing. So oneness in itself is just us moving through different lives. So we have actually experienced all lives. So bringing me to a story that I was told a while ago. This is, I don't know, 2014 or something. I tripped up over this story. It was really cool. It's called the egg story, and you can look that up on the internet as well. Look that up, the egg story. And it was about, I'll just say it quickly, but it was about this fella who had an accident and he died. And then he met his so-called God. He met somebody that he thought was God. And he said to this God, I've died. And God says, yes, you've died. And he says, and then God says to him, you can go back again. You can go back and you can experience something else. And he's like, oh, so I can go back and, revisit my life, go further up. Like our lineal mind, our lineal brain will only take us to, well, the next life must be I'm born into my grandchild. So you're moving through the lineage line of moving, so you're the actual grandchild is born from. And it's not to say that you couldn't, but this God was saying, you can go at any timeline. You don't have to go just to the next to 2000, be born in 2060 or something. You can go to any timeline. And he's like, well, I can go to any timeline. And then the God is saying, well, actually, you could go to, you have been anything. You have been any of these is you as well. So all that has been of existence from the eyes of oneness, who we are at the soul of who we are, just love going on a journey, has been through absolutely every life. Anyway, I'm probably not explaining it very well. So go look up the X story. It's been a while. I wish I reread it. I read it. I wish they'd told me, reread that before you come on board, and try to say the story. But anyway, you guys will read it and you'll see what I'm talking about. But it was talking about that every single life, doesn't matter what life it was, insects, lizards, birds, humans, whatever, oneness has experienced, and we are oneness going on a journey. So at the edge, at the core element, we are all. And so when we see it from that perspective, if you saw it from the top of that perspective, all of a sudden you can let go of the judgments that we've accumulated through the programming of our logical mind, saying society says it should be like this. And when we let go of all the judgments, we no longer need to control anything. So we are just living from the authentic program that nature gave us, instead of the one that was pulled over our eyes by those that we thought were gods, so to speak, or were higher than us or more valued than us. And there's no one at the core essence of oneness that is more valued than anyone else. There's nobody more valued. So then we can look at life a little bit differently. We don't need to control things as much as what we did. Yes, we can make our environment beautiful. We can do whatever we like, but we don't need to do it from guilt of, oh my God, I don't know, mowing my lawn and cutting the lawn means that I've actually killed off with it. There's no guilt associated with. You are just you having an experience, and everything that is part of that experience is just part of it. And many lives want to leave so that they can experience another life. So life comes and goes all the time. It's a whole different point of existence and awareness, and it alleviates the fear. And when we alleviate the fear of passing on or staying here, we end up recognizing that we have a lot more power, a lot more adventures to be had too, and that no one can actually hold us down with that power of saying that, I can take you and do what I want. Anyway, that was getting pretty deep, and now my logical mind's trying to stop it a little bit, because I'm going, in any case, we'll carry on. See what else comes through as well. They're saying they want to gift us the experience of freedom. And to gift us the experience of freedom, sometimes we have to navigate through uncomfortable conversation or uncomfortable stories. So, and they realize that there is certain powers that are trying to push their energy over us, that are stopping us from being freely speaking about this. So there's this kind of navigating through it all. Anyway, but if you can at least take a snippet of that, you might come to, oh my God, I have been judging this and judging that. Sometimes the most, spiritual people can actually be full of judgment. And we have to be aware of that, because in judging anything outside of us is judging ourselves and our lack of compassion and empathy for somebody who's taken a different route than us. But when we see it from Source Energy's point of view, that person literally wanted to take that journey. They decided they wanted a limited journey. They decided they wanted to be squeezed into a more limited reality that stopped them. Because in that pressure becomes the diamond. In that pressure, they get the aha moment. In that pressure, they get the release of adrenaline and excitement, utopia and everything, because all of a sudden when it's dispersed or whatever, they're like, whoa. So there's this, then that in that moment of recognizing themselves as more than that limited life that they poured themselves into gives them something more than what somebody who already knew everything, and then they like did it in little incremental steps that they didn't even really see the progression happening because it happened a lot slower, but they knew more than others. They don't get the whoa feeling. And Source Energy is always looking for new feelings. New feelings really is what the adventure is, the newness of where this can all take us. Yeah, it's different. It's a different abundance when we come from Source Energy. It's a different abundance. And abundance can come in many forms depending on the person and where they really want to go. So if they're fulfilling their adventure, if they're fulfilling where their soul wanted to take them, then they will find themselves happier, even if from the outside perspective, you're looking at it going, when are you going to wake up? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? Because you can see beyond what they are living in. But then their soul's journey that they wanted to journey was in limitation. So I'm trying to help you. I suppose my guides are trying to help you discover that judgment can go so deep, and we have to be careful with that as well. Yeah, allow freedom. That allow a bird to be a bird. Allow a bee to be a bee. Allow everything to come and go in that life as it wants, as it wishes. To leave, and to die, to come back and be born something else. To live an adventure as a bee. To live an adventure and stop trying to contain and control it. It's literally because we have been controlled ourselves that we are pushing that onto others as a reflection, onto animals and onto this and onto that and onto our relatives who aren't awake yet and all that sort of thing, or as aware as things as what you are. There is an absolute perfect, from the Source Energy perspective, everything is perfectly in alignment and in balance. It's just that we don't see the other side of the coin or the reality, and so we are starting to judge it. Yeah, because we're only coming from a logical point of view. We judge a lot. Yeah. Hey, Celtic, good to see you. Thanks, Margaret. I'm glad you love that Earth video. Yeah. Andy Ware, thanks, Celtic, for sharing that. But yes, my guides are definitely wanting us to find freedom within this, the reality of seeing things from a different perspective now. And that's where compassion literally flows automatically. Like sometimes we try to attain something, we try to attain compassion, we try to logify it, we try to reach it, we try to, and then we put ourselves down for not being there. And yet compassion is just freedom of seeing life as it is right here, right now, and as an acceptance, accepting where we're at as the journey that source energy wanted to go on through you, acceptance of yourself in this moment. And then when you get to that point of accepting everything as that freedom, all of a sudden, all of those things that you were striving for to become from your mind's perspective, it's not so such a push to get there anymore. And so the resistance starts to let go. And then you literally start to see a path to go there easier. And if it wasn't something that your soul wanted to do, but it's just something in the mind, then it will completely fall away from your reality. But if it's aligning with what your soul wanted to do, then you will move towards it, and you'll find a clearer path, because you no longer have any resistance of, oh my God, if I don't get that, then I am not this. Instead of, I know who I am, and it doesn't matter how the rest of the world sees me or perceives me. I love who I am, and I'm accepting this as, wow, look at my adventure. Look where I'm at now. I'm in this house. I'm with these flatmates. I'm with this family. I'm, helping my mum out because she's getting older. I'm just trudging along, doing my thing day to day. And okay, I'm going to work now. And wow, they want us to see the value in the experience, and not resist it anymore, because then the value in the experience will give you least resistance. And then you can move it away from that and go, well, no, thank you very much for that job. I think I fulfilled that obligation of my soul in that job, and I don't need to do it anymore. So then your soul starts to align you with another job that you really want, that you were really desiring from a soul's perspective. The mind cannot see what the mind cannot see what the soul wanted unless the soul starts to communicate with the mind. And if we've been ignoring our soul's desires, then the mind has only grabbed from what other people have told it and tried to recreate some sort of patchwork life together that just looked like a little bit of a mess. And it's because it was resisting our heart's desires of what our soul really wanted, because it kept on limiting us by saying, I could never achieve that, or I can never go towards that, because if I go towards that, then this person's going to see me as some weirdo or something, and I don't want them to see me like that. But the funny thing is, if you actually followed what your soul's desire was, and you become more stronger and self-supportive within that person would actually turn around and go, wow, how are they doing that? How are they feeling so happy about themselves as they're moving through their life? And they will start to see that they also had something in resisting from their soul's perspective. They'll start to figure it out themselves. You're leading by example. And the best thing you can do as a guide, as a new leader in this world, as a feminine rising, is to lead by example. And so sometimes those of us that are going into this higher dimension of becoming leaders have had a very difficult life, because we've had to navigate through all the different possibilities where humans could go wrong for us to be able to be a guide for that experience. I know how I got myself out of it. So in other words, you would have had these lives that dipped in and out of really negative situations, and then beautiful situations and so forth. I know my life's been like that, absolutely 100%. And I'm sure most of the people here who are, navigating towards leadership of their own right, of their own self, which creates them as a spark of life on this earth, on this planet, as the guide, have gone through a lot. And that's why my team always says kudos to you. Kudos. For some reason they always say kudos. take my hat off. And I know even in myself throughout my whole life, even when I wasn't awoken to the fact that my soul's come straight from Pleiades or anything, I used to say these things naturally. I take my hat off to humanity, because even though they've been put into such a squeezed, tightened lockdown of only seeing life through the logical mind and outside of themselves, they have created through their imagination, still seeping through all of this. Like, this is incredible, the creation that they've created through being locked down. It's literal imprisonment of themselves, life after life, coming back to try to remember their power of who they truly are, and not seeing it, and then coming back another life and another life, and but through that whole journey, very slowly progressing into all this allowance. And it doesn't matter if it is from, a spaceship that crashed into Earth and then reverse engineering or anything like that. It doesn't even matter. We literally, within our consciousness, pulled that craft down to reverse engineer it. We literally have allowed these people in charge to overbear us so that we could have a tighter and more resistance within our capacity of being human, so that when we come to these aha moments, we're like, release. Oh my God, what an experience is this, that we now feel the utopia, the magic that we're bringing on Earth, the realization of our power that's starting to come forward, the realization that we can communicate with any life form, and we can see way more than just what the logical mind was projecting. It's an advantage. It's an advantage because it's clearing an even bigger playground for source energy to come to play in. And so other beings that are sort of being in this fifth dimensional experience a lot, because as humanity rises into these higher frequencies, we're going to all of a sudden see a lot more beings that actually live in those higher places. Those we're going to see them because they always lived there. They always had that experience of being in that higher frequency. There's a lot more souls living in that frequency than this frequency of being completely closed down. But we are literally digging. It's like they're showing me humanity digging into, being the one that digs the first hole into something darker and deeper. But then when we get there, we're like, we can ground utopia onto this plane, and have this like a more physical reality, but bringing utopia in actually allows us to have the physical reality plus the heaven, the utopia, plus the enlightenment, plus it's like we're carving new paths for source energy to have more adventure. And everything that's happened so far up till now has been in reflection to humanity's greater awareness or consciousness. And now literally tapping into, although, before was CYANIANS and Pleiadians, now I'm tapping into humanity's consciousness, because humanity's consciousness has got so much more to go to move towards. Might actually do a actual channel message straight through to humanity's overall consciousness. Yeah. So we have all these stories, and not every single person on the earth has actually found that story. Everyone has different stories. Remember that too. So when you come across somebody that hasn't had the similar story as you, just remember it's still source energy going on a journey through them, experiencing something that was value to source energy, having that experience. From that perspective, there's no wrong and there's no right. There just is. There's just experience and acceptance. That's all there is. Excuse me, guys. Yeah. So I love that. That was pretty full on channeling at the moment. Um, let's see if anything else comes through, or whether that is closing. It will be amazing when we get to that point where we start to see everything through the eyes of compassion. But even for ourselves, and no matter what happens, we're still allowed to, in our given right, produce anything. Something needs to produce anything. Something needs to go. So it's like, say, for instance, you wanted a beautiful garden with beautiful flowers in it and all that sort of stuff. And so you dug up the ground, and then you end up cutting a worm open and stuff. And you could sit there and wallow and feeling guilt and all that sort of stuff, which would actually literally tell the universe that you are not worthy as much as what your flowers aren't as worthy as the worm isn't as worthy as you is worthy as. It's interesting the way that they're showing it to me. It's like, if you don't, it's not that you'd go around doing that on purpose, but if it was an accident, it was meant to happen. So they're saying accidents are like universe's way of allowing release for that worm to actually experience becoming something else. The worm had already put itself in line with the shovel. The worm, the experience, the accidents that we have, even in life, two people that are in two cars that are crashing have already decided that they wanted to leave for one reason or another, to have the experience to release. And the mind will hold on to the story of saying that they didn't, but there is always an energetic response to the universe of release from this story, this body, to be able to be free to go into another, or free to experience a higher dimensional aspect without a body, or free to move, and the soul to move to another existence on another planet, or free to, so that there's freedom in release of death. So death, there's always a new beginning. And so we to come back to that whole the whole channeling of seeing life through the eyes of source energy, or the CYANIANS. They see it as everything is meant to be, and everyone is moving towards the soul goal of where they really want to go. It's only when we stop moving towards our soul goal that we feel the uncomfortableness of separation from source energy, which is our soul, or love. And so we become more apart, and then it feels more and more awkward, because it's literally wanting us to ping back to love itself. And if we don't have the resistance, or the awkward feeling, or the heartbreak, or the horrible feeling about the lack of support of ourselves, and feeling guilt and all of that sort of stuff, then we will never have a feeling line of, we've gone too far. You need to now come back into alignment of self-support and love again, because that's what's going to make you feel much better and much more at ease. They're showing me feelings like a line, if you want to put it in a linear line for the mind to understand. They're showing me feelings as that a pull of always wanting to come back to the central self of love itself, and then we're moving away from it through fear, guilt, anger, and then we get too uncomfortable. It's like the only way to seek to release is to let go of that feeling and come back into loving self more. And that returns us back to source energy. So this is why this whole game at the moment, with the energies that are pouring from sun, the solar galaxy, it's the source, sun, source. That's literally pouring through us, of ourselves as source energy, wanting to shift this story, having the new energies pouring onto Gaia, awakening us up to pull us out of the feeling that we are so separated from source energy. Yeah, so that was pretty powerful from the CYANIANS, straight from them. Yeah. Okay. Is there any questions? If anyone wants to have any questions or anything, I open the chat bar for that. But if not, I'll see if there's anything else come through. In the meantime, they are talking about the heart center, and they keep coming back to the heart. There's something to do with the engine or motivation. It's the life pulsing, just as life pulses in and off Earth. You'll see that pulse happening everywhere. Everything is a pulse. Acceptance of the in-breath and the out-breath is needed just as much. It's literally humanity's consciousness and where they've gone through. They're saying that the only important thing is the out-breath or the in-breath, or one of them. You know, there's only one breath that's important. The rest of it's not. It's just like a residual. and they're like, no. all is important. In coming into self and going. Yeah, it's interesting how they're bringing that up. Sky, do you know what 7777? Well, 7, lots of sevens. 7 is grounding utopia on Earth, and through grounding utopia on Earth, we tend to have a lot of lessons. So sometimes through the numerological number of 7, and I've been seeing BR7 a lot on number plates. My name is Bobby Richardson, so I see BR and then a number constantly in front of me. And 7 is grounding utopia on Earth through the understanding of the shadow work that you've done, that you've been through, the lessons that you've learned, understanding where you want to go and bringing that and grounding it down. So obviously also 4 7s adds up to 28, which is a 9. I hope I got that right. And 9 is all to do with ending. So we're ending something here to bring in, we're finishing off with something to bring in utopia or ground utopia on Earth. That's how I see it, Sky. We are now from 11-11. 11-11 is one of the big waking up frequencies, that one of the first numbers that you come across when you're starting to wake up. You'll start to see 11-11, because 11-11 is all to do with, oh my God, I am the creator of my own reality. Oh my God, I can manifest that into my life. I'm actually 11-11 numerologically. So my ruling number and my life number is 11. And so it's all to do with manifesting the life that you really want on this world by being the guide for others to do the same. But it is one of the first numbers that you'll come across when you are waking up. And then it goes from there. Because to awaken, we need to understand that we have to take more responsibility of how we're thinking. And so then you started off with the 11-11 would have been I'm going to manifest a car park. I'm going to manifest coins or feathers or something. I'm going to manifest something small. So you start to use that energy of 11-11 portal to create and manifest more. And now 11-11 on the other side of all that is, oh my God, I am taking full responsibility to use that energy of 11-11 means that you are literally creating the life you love on this planet as well. 28 is 1. Oh, thanks, Celtic. Which is new beginnings. Oh my God, I'm so 28 is 9. Me and my maths, right? Um, well, yeah. I mean, if, funnily enough, even if it is 9 and it's like the end of something, it's really weird too because I keep seeing BR and Z, which means it's the end of something. So I've got that in my brain. So sorry about that. Bringing my own stuff into this. One is obviously new beginnings. Also, one is to do with independence of self, knowing that you are the one you are source energy going on this journey. You are the one central point of your existence creating all of this. One is also that. So to bring utopia on earth through the lessons that you've already had and understanding where you're going, and then moving towards bringing you as a central point of existence. And then creating your life from that point on, being that you're separated, but you're also with source energy as one too. Okay, what else have we got? Value present and feels mundane allows us to move to step into. Yeah. Robin, how does that relate to now with 11/11? So it's interesting because we've just gone through November 11th, right? And if you really look at the whole game of how they do it, a lot of countries try to get all of their people to focus in on one thing on 11/11, Remembrance Day, which gets everyone focusing in on wars. Because we are manifesting through our thoughts, and that's a powerful number to manifest through. So I always taught my girls on those days to imagine. I said, enough of us are thinking about all of that. And I'm sure that the ones that are passed over through the wars and stuff wanted us to create something better out of this. So let's all focus in on what we want to create and where we really want to go. So in the 11/11 portal, 11/11 number, there is this power of taking responsibility and knowing where one wants to go, what one wants to actually create in this world. Yeah. And I don't know if that helps, Robin, but that's all I've got. Yeah. I love it how the people in my chat bar work with me, and like there's no one better than anyone else in this team. We're just like one having a discussion, and I'm not perfect, so it's so good to have you guys bringing up some things that I do wrong or whatever. I'm definitely, don't even ask me to spell anything. I'm dyslexic, terribly dyslexic. And the amount of times, even when I produce my movies, I have to go over everything over and over. And I'm really, really grateful because I do get a feeling nowadays of this doesn't feel right. This word doesn't feel right. So then I have to look it up. I look up a lot of words just to try to find out how to spell them. But that's a lot of work goes into just spelling on my videos half the time. So I'm not perfect. But I love it. Yeah, and perfectly perfect, Jennifer. And I love that too, because I'm like Virgo tones, about 5 or 6 Virgo signs in me. And my whole thing was I'm never perfect enough. So I limited everything that I did. I stopped myself, thought my drawings weren't good enough, thought my music wasn't good enough, and always constantly striving for perfection. And that's one of my things that's kept me very limited in my own consciousness. But I have said that statement to myself a lot, Jennifer. I am perfectly imperfect. It's the only way I could actually go live and do what I'm doing now, and literally let go enough to be a channeler. So it's so cool. Celtic, Mars opposite Uranus, November 11th. lots of protests occurring around the world. Yeah, there's definitely an awareness that is threading through humanity's consciousness waking up. And that's why they're asking me to bring us into more understanding of alignment with new perspectives, because that awareness, there's going to be groups, you know, some that are still in the fighting mode, some that are still in the everything's against us and we have no power mode. Some that are like, blow it all, I'm just going to be the roaring lion and scream what I need to scream. And then some of us that have gone beyond that and wow, this world is so beautiful and I'm coming from the innocence of myself and I am the creator, so that's my world, and my world I can say no to those other things that I don't want to experience. And so your reality is carving a new path because you're actually moving through life happier than what you ever were before. And we don't want to bring in more fights. We want to bring in more peace onto this planet and into this existence. So there's different stages, and I don't follow astrology at all. I only go through my guides and what they say. I don't follow anyone unless my guides lead me to that video, and then I will watch it. But other than that, I don't follow anyone. I don't watch anything. I just pick and choose what I want to watch with, you know, on my TV and so forth. I think that's about all. If there's any more discussions, interesting that numerology has come up a lot. I might do a video on that too. That's another topic that I could bring up. I have so many topics already down here though. Another topic that I want to bring up is how to work with the infinity code. So they were bringing up that the other day, the infinity code. I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, plus I want to do channelings just straight from Pleiades and channeling straight from humanity's higher consciousness as well. So it's just so much work to do. But I only have a limited amount of time and there's only limited me. And I also want to have fun doing this. So usually what happens is that I just get an excitement and I will go do that. So that's what's going to come up next, is whatever I get a pull to or an excitement to. But yeah, I do love numerology. It is fun. Okay, guys, I think I'll wrap it up here. It's been an hour. So love you heaps. And until the next huge channel messages come through, don't forget on Thursday, I do pick a channeled message from my own artwork and I throw my dice and we have a couple of 3 groups that I pull out. So if you want to be involved in that, the chat bar will be open through that as well. And we'll see what else comes up. Okay, love you guys. Bye.